Hey, it's Chris. Let's talk about breaths. How not to edit breaths in a podcast. So first of all, a little background. Breathing is part of speaking. And every single human being you've ever spoken to in life, you've heard them breathe to some degree or another, right? And here's another thing. Some podcasters do this actually. They actually delete all the breaths. All the breaths. And if you could try it yourself, but I'm going to tell you, it sounds so unnatural. It almost sounds weird. As you're after you listen for probably like 5 or 10 seconds, you start to think, even subconsciously, you're like, something's wrong here. I don't understand. Like, it's just a little weird. Some people like that. I know podcasters who do that, and it's good. If you like doing that, then keep doing it. But breathing is natural. So now, probably the only thing that sounds more unnatural than removing the breaths altogether is if you cut a breath in half. Like if you remove half of the breath. And so there's a weird, like a weird thing, like that'll actually catch the listener's attention. They'll be like, whoa, what was that? What happened? So when you're editing podcasts, this is one thing not to do. You got to be very careful not to cut any breaths in half or that kind of thing. Also, the timing of breaths, you don't want to have a rush. You don't want to rush a breath. A lot of times, a podcast editor will remove an and then the breath before it, because normally it's like a breath, an in breath, then and then they start the sentence. But if you take out the then it's an in breath, and then they start the sentence. But if you don't leave a little blank space in there, if you cut out the entire sometimes it'll sound rushed. Like it'll be like the breath and then they right into the sentence. It'll just sound unnatural. Again, kind of subconscious, but you'd be surprised how these subconscious things add up in the listener's mind, right? If there's all weird stuff going on, that makes them feel a certain way. All right, so yeah, when you're editing, like a lot of times in podcast editing, there'll be like a bunch of space that you need to cut out because, the conversation slowed down, or maybe there was a pause and no one knew who was going to speak next. So there's like a 2 or maybe 4 or 5 second pause and then someone jumps in. And of course, when you edit a podcast, you need to cut down that, let's say it's 4 seconds. That 4 seconds is a long time to be quiet on a podcast. I should just demonstrate 4 seconds, but I don't have a stopwatch. But it would be something like this. That's about 4 seconds. That's a long time. So when you're cutting out the gaps where people are not speaking, that's when you have to be careful to not cut out some of the next breath and all that. So, and one cool exercise for you to do. This is a little homework for you, okay? But it's a fun homework. Listen to some pop songs. Listen to some pop songs and listen to the lead vocalist and listen to their breaths. And what you're going to find out is that their breaths are so loud. Once you notice them and focus on them, you're going to be like, oh my God, their breath is so loud. Why is it so loud? Because they use a lot of compression on the voice. So the voice gets compressed, but the breaths, which are a lower volume, comparatively speaking, the breaths get raised up, right? So the singer will sing and then they'll take a breath and the breath will be loud. And once you notice that, you can never unnotice it. But anyway, all right, well, that's it for today. I just wanted to talk about breaths. Don't forget the Podcast Engineering Show. I just put out an episode with Barry Gary. You got to check that out. Barry's working with some organizations about some internal podcasts. And anyway, it's a great episode. Also, the daily goodies, they're little tips. You can join the email list and the website, podcastengineeringschool.com. That's where you can see details on my course where I teach people how to work from home and earn a great living producing podcasts from home. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you want to like and subscribe, please do. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.